Arkham City, Order of the World, issue 4, Dan Waters, writing with Danny on art. So basically, Dr. Joy thinks she's going crazy because the ghost, if you will, at the end of the last issue, she sees too. She believes it may actually be Amadeus Arkham. She's like, God damn it. Does that mean I'm crazy? Is basically her
And
word.
the answer is maybe.
The answer is maybe, but by the end of the issue, we find out that the ghost isn't real. Someone's pretending to be the ghost. So
But why?
We have
And
a whole conspiracy of sorts. So Ten-Eyed Man loses a hand. So he's only the five-eyed man now.
I mean, the hand's still there. It's just burnt, right?
I mean, are those eyes going to heal? Is he going to be able to see to them again?
I suspect not, but he hasn't lost a hand. He's lost the eyes.
Well, he gets sliced down the middle of the hand.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty gnarly. Azrael's not pulling punches. But he gives Dr. Joy the skull, which will contain all the madness of Gotham in it, apparently. And she runs off with it. And she's very conflicted. There's a lot more stuff in this issue with Dr. Phosphorus, the neighbours that are getting sick because he's there. Nocturna is sort of living with them. They're kind of like a weird... It's always like a weird, horrific like sitcom about a couple who are living next to some neighbours.
Yeah, and Phosphorus thinks he's cured because when he was in Arkham, they had like medication that they could give him so he didn't poison everyone. Obviously, he's been off that, so he's back to being toxic radiation. But he, because he's mentally ill, doesn't quite realize that. So when it's pointed out to him that the couple next door are like basically dead because of him, he's like, no, that's not right. I'm cured. Can't be me. No, coincidence.
Yeah, and they try to be nice and like talk to the neighbours, and the neighbours are like, call an ambulance, we're dying. Also, we can't find her dog because the Nocturna, who believes she's a vampire,
and may be a vampire.
Sorry?
And she may be a vampire. There's possibility. Again, it's
she may be.
Is she or not?
But we don't know.
But I laughed so hard at that because the woman's on the floor like dying. She's like, I think she ate our dog, and she goes, well, people eat animals, don't they? That's normal. Normal enough.
Oh no.
Yeah, and then we got the detective at the hospital as well, who's dealing with his ex and his kid is there, and the kid actually sees, because they've got a lot of these patients from Arkham they've sort of rounded up and they're at the hospital right now, so the kid gets kind of freaked out when he sees one of them. We go back to the apartment stuff, and this is where Dr. Joy like sort of finds them because like we found out in previous issues, Arkham kind of mirrors the layout of Arkham. Gotham mirrors the layout of Arkham. So she was able to sort of pinpoint where they'd be and comes to speak to them. And they have this just casual chat and talks to them about what's going on, and sort of goes into some of their backstories a little bit with them. And when she pulls out the skull, which Nocturna licks, I might add, basically they go, don't listen to Ten-Eyed Man. He's just a bit crazy. Like this skull's at most 10 years old. It's not the original mad person from Gotham.
And she's like, but he knew what was going on. He's got a whole map. He had a ritual. And they're like, oh yeah, he sees things. Of course he does. That's what the eyes are for. But yeah, all his rituals. Yeah, everything else is just bullshit. He's a nut job, essentially.
Yeah. And then, of course, he's at the hospital, so the detective, and his scrubs goes to talk to him and sees if he can find out anything. And Ten-Eyed Man just casually reveals that he was staying at Dr. Joy's apartment and that she was protecting him. So that shit's hitting the fan next issue.
The detective's like, oh, was she now?
So they find the couple next door. Dr. Joy's like phoning for an ambulance because they're basically dead. The line there, like they mention at one point that the last tooth's fallen out and the hair's all gone, and like this is very quick radiation poison as well. So they're getting a continued heavy dose. If anything, I'm surprised that Dr. Joy at the end of the comic didn't start like pulling out hair or something just to show that she's been affected by it. But the end of the issue is that this apparition that is Amadeus Arkham starts speaking with a different like type of speech bubble. It turns blue with white text, and this like the ghostly kind of like surroundings like disappears. And whoever this is, this person whose face is still kind of obscured, this woman, she's working for none other than Professor Pig. And it looks like she has a giant hole in her head in that last panel where we see Pig through.
Yes.
I remember a Batman villain with a hole like that.
Does that sound
from
familiar?
Tomasi's run.
Okay.
I don't remember her name though, or
Well,
their name.
Professor Pig was heavily featured back then because that was right around the time of
Right.
the Morrison stuff, so that tracks.
Mm.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, they're rounding up these Arkham inmates for Professor Pig to make his art with, which I think it's a fun. Professor Pig's a cool villain to reveal, and I think putting Pig in a book that's inherently creepy to make him scary again is kind of a nice touch
And
for me.
Pig's off on one here. He's not speaking in English. He's just squealing.
Yes.
And Hole in the Head Woman is just answering as if she understands exactly what he's saying.
Yeah, so is she manipulating him and controlling him? But speaking as if she's doing this at his behest, you know?
Yeah.
That's kind of the vibe you kind of get from it. But they could go multiple ways with it, because ultimately these are all crazy people, so they can kind of like do what they want in terms of like swerves and surprises.
They're all very unpredictable, aren't they?
Yeah, but it was a nice ending. Like I always dig when a twist turns out to be Professor Pig. I'm always down for a pig reveal.
Yeah, no, I can't argue with that. It's always fun.
Yeah.
So the person with the hole in the head was known as the Absence, but this doesn't seem like that character.
Yeah, this is like a woman with a short haircut who's kind of like proper.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Oh,
Someone
no,
that has ties to Gotham for sure.
This is a significantly bigger hole than that, because that's just like a hole through the forehead. This is the entire face.
This is this is the entire face is gone.
Man, was not ready for that ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, this is like, so you could put your hand through her face, so you could like...
Yeah, you put your face through her face.
But yeah, no, but I mean, it's just still a creepy book, and it's I think the developments are kind of fun, and like it's playing with just a bunch of characters that otherwise don't get talked about much. So
and the fact that this is all mainline continuity is wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which probably means that the ending's not going to affect too much, other than maybe something that someone wants the outcome to be.
Sure, but more just that this is the sort of weird thing that I would normally expect to see in like some random out of continuity mini.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just straight up. No, this is in continuity. All this stuff is happening in Gotham around the same time as, you know, whatever's going on in Detective, I assume, give or take.
Yeah. So, which might explain why Batman's not showing up and dealing with anything, and why the others are all busy and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So, that makes some sense. So, all right, what are you giving it, Connor?
Oh, you're with me.
Well, Matt didn't read it, did he?
Oh,
yeah, no.
Okay, fair enough. Matt was talking at the end there, like he had.
Well, I was thumbing through it because I still have it. I didn't have time to read it.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought maybe he had by the end there. It's like an 8.5. I think the story's good. It's elevated by the art that just gives it, just a unique tone. Still, even 4 issues in, I'm still enthralled by that.
A lot of creepy vibes from the art for sure. I'll go with a straight 8, I think, for me. But it's been an interesting read every single time. It's never been at the top of the priority list, but I've always been happy to get like a different type of comic at the end of my batch. So.